The 4th of July has always been a time of celebration and community in America, with traditions that have evolved over the years, from parades to picnics and bonfires to patriotic plays. These activities once formed the heart of Independence Day festivities. Let's take a nostalgic look back at some of these cherished traditions that have largely faded from modern celebrations. Number 1, community parades. Once upon a time, the heart of the 4th of July celebrations was the community parade. Towns and cities across America would come alive with vibrant parades featuring marching bands, decorated floats, and community groups proudly displaying their patriotic spirit. These parades were a way for neighbors to come together, celebrate their town's unique character, and honor the nation's history. Back then, it wasn't uncommon for local businesses, schools, and civic organizations to spend weeks preparing for their parade entries. Children would eagerly await their chance to march in the parade, often dressed in red, white, and blue costumes. These parades were more than just a spectacle. They were a cherished tradition that fostered a sense of community and patriotism. However, as the years passed, the hustle and bustle of modern life began to encroach upon these traditions. The time and effort required to organize such grand events became a burden for many communities, leading to a gradual decline in these once beloved parades. Today, while some towns still hold 4th of July parades, they are far less common and often smaller in scale than they were in the early 20th century. Number 2, picnics in the park. In the early to mid-20th century, picnics in the park were a quintessential part of the 4th of July celebrations. Families and friends would gather in local parks, spreading out blankets and setting up picnic tables laden with homemade treats. The air would be filled with the tantalizing aroma of fried chicken, potato salad, and freshly baked pies. These gatherings were more than just meals. They were social events that brought communities together. People would engage in friendly games of baseball, sack races, and tug of war, creating a festive atmosphere that epitomized the spirit of the holiday. As suburbanization spread and the pace of life quickened, the tradition of communal picnics began to wane. Nowadays, while some families still enjoy a picnic on the 4th, many opt for barbecues in their own backyards or dining out at restaurants, marking a shift in how we choose to spend our time on this patriotic holiday. Number 3, reading the Declaration of Independence. One of the most solemn and patriotic traditions of the early 20th century was the public reading of the Declaration of Independence. On the morning of the 4th, communities would gather in town squares, parks, and public halls to hear this historic document read aloud. It was a moment to reflect on the nation's founding principles and the sacrifices made for freedom. This tradition served as a powerful reminder of the country's roots and the values upon which it was built. The reading was often accompanied by speeches from local dignitaries, patriotic songs, and prayers for the nation's continued prosperity. As the century progressed, the tradition of reading the Declaration of Independence in public faded. The rise of mass media and the availability of other forms of entertainment led to a shift in how people choose to celebrate the holiday. Today, while the Declaration is still read in some places, it is far from the widespread and central event it once was. Number 4, carnivals and fairs. Another popular 4th of July tradition that was largely disappeared is the carnival or fair. Throughout the 20th century, many towns would host these vibrant events filled with rides, games, and food stalls. From Ferris wheels to cotton candy, these fairs provided fun for all ages and were a highlight of the summer season. Carnivals and fairs were more than just entertainment. They are commonly gatherings that brought people together in celebration. Families would spend the day enjoying the attractions, while local vendors and performers showcased their talents and wares. With the advent of modern amusement parks and the increasing availability of year-round entertainment options, the allure of the once annual 4th of July fair began to diminish. Today, while some towns still host small-scale events, the grand carnivals of yesteryear are a rare sight on an Independence Day. Number 5, bonfires. Bonfires were a fiery and exciting tradition of 4th of July celebrations in the early 20th century. Communities would gather at dusk to light large bonfires, symbolizing the spirit of independence and unity. These gatherings were filled with singing, storytelling, and camaraderie. The bonfire tradition has roots in ancient customs, where fire was seen as a purifying force and a symbol of community strength. On the 4th of July, these bonfires served as a beacon of freedom and a reminder of the nation's fight for independence. However, concerns about safety, environmental impact, and the availability of other forms of entertainment have led to the decline of this tradition. Today, organized fireworks displays have largely replaced bonfires as the preferred nighttime spectacle on Independence Day. Number 6. Patriotic pageants. Patriotic pageants were a popular form of entertainment on the 4th of July during the early to mid-20th century. These theatrical productions often involved elaborate costumes, music, and performances that depicted historical events from the American Revolution. Local schools, theaters, and community groups would come together to create these pageants, which were both educational and entertaining. They served as a way to honor the nation's history and instill a sense of pride and patriotism in the audience. As the century progressed, the rise of television and other forms of entertainment led to a decline in the popularity of live pageants. Today, while some communities still hold patriotic performances, they are far less common and often smaller in scale than the grand productions of the past. Number 7. Decorating bicycles. Decorating bicycles for the 4th of July was a beloved tradition for children in the early 20th century. Kids would spend hours adorning their bikes with crepe paper, flags, and streamers in red, white, and blue. These decorated bicycles were often featured in neighborhood parades or friendly competitions. This tradition allowed children to express their creativity and patriotism while participating in the community's celebrations. It was a simple yet joyful way for families to bond and share in the holiday spirit. In recent years, the tradition of decorating bicycles has become less common, with many children opting for other activities or spending the holiday indoors. While some communities still encourage this practice, it is no longer the widespread and eagerly anticipated event it once was. Number 8. Firecracker derbies. Firecracker derbies were thrilling races that took place on the 4th of July in many communities throughout the 20th century. Participants would build small wooden cars or soapbox racers, often powered by firecrackers or other small explosive devices, and race them down designated tracks. These races were a highlight of the holiday, drawing large crowds and fostering friendly competition among participants. They required creativity, engineering skills, and a bit of daring, making them an exciting and memorable part of the celebrations. Due to safety concerns and changes in regulations regarding fireworks and explosives, firecracker derbies have all but vanished. While the spirit of competition and ingenuity remains in other forms, the specific tradition of firecracker-powered races is a thing of the past. Number 9. Patriotic plays. Patriotic plays were another popular form of entertainment during the 4th of July celebrations in the early to mid-20th century. These plays often depicted historical events from the American Revolution, featuring characters like George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and Betsy Ross. Local theater groups, schools, and community organizations would stage these productions, which were both educational and inspirational. They provided a way for people to connect with their history and celebrate the nation's founding through storytelling and performance. As the availability of other forms of entertainment increased, the popularity of patriotic plays declined. While some communities still stage historical reenactments or performances, they are far less common than they were in the past. Number 10. Military drills and demonstrations. In the early 20th century, military drills and demonstrations were a prominent feature of 4th of July celebrations. Local National Guard units, veterans organizations, and military bands would perform drills, parades, and demonstrations, showcasing their skills and honoring the nation's armed forces. These events served as a reminder of the sacrifices made by those who served and provided an opportunity for the community to show their support and appreciation for the military. They were often accompanied by speeches, patriotic songs, and ceremonies to honor veterans and active duty service members. Over time, the focus of 4th of July celebrations shifted, and the grand military drills and demonstrations became less common. While military bands and honor guards still participate in some parades and events, the large-scale displays of military prowess that once characterized the holiday have largely faded into history. As we've explored these forgotten 4th of July traditions, it's clear that the spirit of celebration and patriotism endures. These customs, though faded, remain a vital part of our collective memory, reminding us of community and celebration. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your favorite 4th of July memories in the comments below. Happy Independence Day!